Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Chestnut Checkers. I am Shane Jenkins, your host. And for those of you who don't know me, I am a former January 6th hostage, as President Trump likes to call us. He pardoned us. I was released on January 21st, 2025, earlier this year. We just passed up 100 days with the Trump administration. And And what an honor it is to be able to sit here and speak before you. You know, just 100 days ago, I was in solitary confinement in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And though all of my J6 brethren and I have been given our freedom, um, I still find a lot of us lacking mentally and emotionally. It has been quite a challenge, something that I did not expect due to my previous past with incarceration. You know, I've been in trouble. Prior to my life, giving my life to Christ in 2016, I had been in and out of prison in the state of Texas several times, many times, in and out of jails and selling drugs and fighting and using drugs and, doing all that. And I don't really remember it being this difficult to adapt back to society. And so I would say to my peers out there, the January 6th community, if you are struggling, please feel free to reach out. You can hit me up on Twitter. Most of y'all are on Twitter. DM me, please, if you're having a hard time, if you need somebody to talk to. I know that I had to reach out to some of my brothers the other day and go spend some time with some family just to unplug and to recenter myself. And it's not something that's like, you stub your toe and you know exactly what's wrong. And you're like, oh, I hit the edge of that table or whatever. So that's why my toe hurts. It's just something that comes over you like in a wave of like despair or, not really anxiety, but despair and just this overwhelming feeling of not being normal. And I think that probably is the problem in the overall picture, is because what is normal? Anything about my life, I'll share my story on here one day, but anything about my life is not normal. Like anything from beginning to end, if I told you my life story, you're gonna be like, God dang, how did you survive all that? And so I think me pursuing this normalcy or this normality um, it's a myth. It's like catching smoke in your hand. It's not something that you can attain. And I think that's something from the enemy that he is using. Like, you've got to be normal and you have to have X, Y, and Z, or your life is not whole. And that's just a lie straight from the pits of hell, because Jesus is my portion, and I know that. And it's hard sometimes to see that in the midst of these spiritual wars and these physical wars with the government bearing down on us, or being locked in a cell, or trying to recover after being released. And so I just want to encourage all my January 6 people out there to please reach out, please call somebody, because I would feel it would be devastating to lose somebody from whatever, suicide or drug overdose or whatever it was, because because I wasn't there for one of y'all. And so I know that plenty of my other brothers that are leaders in the community say, you got their phone numbers, or if you need it, like, reach out and we'll put you in contact with somebody that can help, or somebody that can just listen or be there for you. Tonight or today, I have a special guest, somebody who was in the fire with me, my brother Barry Ramey. We got to spend some time in solitary confinement together. I don't know whose fault that was. We'll talk about that sometime too, I'm sure. But I just think that how amazing God is, that I get to host a podcast and get to interview my buddies that I was forged in the fire with. And so if we can, I'd like to bring Barry in. What's up, Barry?
How are you doing? I got to be honest. You look really good in an orange jumpsuit. I didn't realize until I see you in normal clothes that the orange jumpsuit really brought the beard out and the highlights, and
Less of the white, probably.
yeah, this sense of normalcy. I don't know if I like it very much. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm hanging in there. I'm excited. It's cool to see what God is doing, and cool to see my brothers thriving out here. And but it's good. What's going on with you? Give me the rundown. How's your 100 days been? And the family and friends are happy to see you. I'm sure Florida loves having you back. So give us the rundown. What's going on with you? Did we lose Barry? Did he freeze frame? He looks like he froze on us. A little bit of technical difficulties, I guess the internet down there. They got that DeSantis internet down there in Florida. We got that they got that Disney internet down there. We got Starlink and we got that I got 400 meg download internet over here. That's like that space age internet. So I just got to watch Donald Trump give his 100-day speech, and that was pretty interesting. He did mention the J6ers, which reminded me when we were in the DC gulag for those 32 months. I can remember, Trump was on the stump. Like, I don't know how many speeches he gave. It was a ton though. And it was like when they would be like, he's in such and such place and he's going to be talking tonight. Everybody, we would all tune in. We'd be on the radios or have the tablets and we would be listening. And it was just like, and you got to understand, these guys are, me included, I'm 1,000 miles away from home, been gone from my family for like 2+ years, from the beginning, whatever, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it was. And, we're still kind of holding out hope they're going to overturn the 2020 election or take a look at it. And it's like when Donald Trump, on those nights that he was speaking, if it was like, well, did he mention the January 6ers? What did he say? Did he say anything? And if he didn't, it was just like, oh, he's going to forget about it. So I can remember like guys despairing. But then whenever, when he would say, when he changed the rhetoric from the J6 political prisoners to the J6 hostages, everybody's like, yeah. And then they started playing our song Justice for All before the rallies. And, I know he thinks about us, but he also has 1,000 other things that he has to think about running the country. And so we got Barry back up, man. I'm sorry if DeSantis, he probably doesn't like you, talking on, with other domestic terrorists. So go ahead and give us
I'm pretty sure that was the NSA that time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like you said. I didn't expect. I guess I'll go ahead and I'll confide in you something I haven't ever really told the J6 community. I never really, just didn't really come up. But I spent all of my adolescent life in a maximum security juvenile hall program from the age of 13 to 17. I got out and I never got in trouble again. I became a responsible adult, somewhat, mostly. And, I never had a criminal record outside of a juvenile. But I did experience, first of all, juvenile detention facility like that is terrible. They don't fear consequences, kids. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot more violent than prison, believe it or not. And I didn't think that I would have much time. It was only 3 years. I didn't think that I would need as much time as I'm finding I need to adjust to the fast pace of society. But it's one day at a time. And we got each other to lean on. The friendships that we have, from what we endured together, you can't replicate that and create that in life. The things we went through, we know who each other are. We know our flaws, and our strengths and weaknesses better than some of us know ourselves. We know of one another. So it's a very unique experience. And here we are trying to pretend like we know anything about the internet, talking to each other on these new podcasts. So that's, God works in mysterious ways.
Well, you said something though, too, in jail, it's one thing to go to church on the weekend and see somebody and like, hey, Barry, how's it going? You're like, oh, I'm doing great, Shane, good to see you. And then that's it. That's your whole interaction. But when you live with somebody 24/7, like you're in there, like that facade, that projection that you claim is your real life, like, oh, I'm blessed coming in, I'm blessed going out, like everything is just hunky-dory. That's not reality. That's not real. When that mask comes off and that real, like when Barry's having a bad day or when Shane got off the phone with somebody and he didn't like what they had to say or whatever, life is happening. That's when you get to know each other, and that's when you get to, speak into each other's lives, and that's when you get to be there. And so that's one of the things that, I really got to appreciate you as a person was whenever we went to the hole for a few days, and I just kind of got to see who Barry was, man. And so I'm thankful to call you my brother, thankful to call you my friend, man. And so thank you for coming on, and thank you for being on the show. I like your studio, dude. It looks, I don't know if you can read. I don't know if all those books are just for show or if they're coloring books or what those are.
Well, yeah, that's my obligatory look at me, I read shit background prop. So
there you go. There you go. I have one of those, but it's over there in the background, and I have read most of my books back there. So. But yeah, you good? Yeah.
Yeah, but I got the little the AI camera, and I have no idea how it works. It just works itself. So
it works when it wants. It works when it
we're
doesn't.
figuring that all out.
That's good though, man. Hell yeah. So what do you got out? So were you in whenever we got pardoned? You got released the night of the pardons, or you were already out?
Well, I was in the halfway house on a GPS monitor. So
Okay.
yeah, the halfway house sucks. I thought it was going to be a lot better, man. There was times where I was like, just take me back to prison. This is terrible. But yeah, I was on a GPS monitor. The halfway house didn't want to honor the pardon on day one because they had a lot of Trump hating liberals, and
The
so
resistance.
they made me suffer for another 18 hours after the pardon was issued. But
Okay.
I made it.
Well, so were you in for the election and all that, or?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I mean, that's one of my I actually registered as a voter in DC. So they mailed me a ballot. I was in Terre Haute, Indiana. They mailed me my ballot. I got to turn in my ballot in the mail and send it in. So I actually got to vote for Trump in 2024 for the second
awesome.
So what was it like watching the election that night? And did you have questions about it? Were you concerned? Did you feel like your freedom was on the line? Like what? Give us a little insight into that.
All of the above. When I got to the facility I was at, FCI Miami, do you remember those? They don't sell them in the BOP anymore, but they used to sell those little crank up radios.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people still have them. And when they go home, they sell them and they're not cheap. And so I bought one from a guy, and I paid a dude that was really good with small electronics that somehow found a speaker from a regular telephone, an office phone. I don't know how he did that, and installed it into the radio. So I actually had a radio with a little speaker in it.
Okay.
And me and my cellmate were up all night just biting our fingernails, not knowing if the communists were going to allow this legitimate election to occur again. And yeah, it was bittersweet. FCI Miami Low operates like a medium. You get locked down at 9 o'clock at night. You don't come back out. It's a lockdown facility. So we're in there, we're cooking food, and, may or may not have had some prison moonshine, to celebrate. Come to find out, prison moonshine is really not that bad once you get over the toilet taste. So,
once you get the fecal matter out of it, you're good.
We were, it was last time I went to bed and Trump was winning, and I woke up and he lost. So I couldn't sleep until I heard that victory speech.
No, that was phenomenal. Yeah. I remember watching it through a little window of my cell. We had the TV on Fox right by my cell, and my cellie was up. He knew the importance of what was going on, man. I'll never forget when they called it for Trump. I'm like crying, like happy dance. Like if I can't dance, so my dancing is like about the equivalent of Donald Trump's, dance. So
hey, that's a good dance. You leave that dance. That is a professional. Some may say that is the best dance in the world. So
the best we've seen.
You leave the salt and pepper shakers alone, buddy.
That's right. So you got out, I guess, not long after the election, and then went to the halfway house, and then they slow bucked on the. Probably, did you have a ankle monitor on, or
not at first? It took them about a month to put it on because I was just stuck there. They wouldn't let me leave. They wouldn't approve my job. I would watch guys come in there, and the next day they had a job. I believe this halfway house that I was at, and I can assume, I think it's safe to assume this is indicative to how they all operate. This particular halfway house in Miami had a contract with a local restaurant called Flanagan's. So they were getting kickbacks by making people work there. So they would try to slow walk all your jobs to make you settle to go work at this restaurant in the kitchen. And where I believe this place was getting a kickback, and so that's what they were trying to do. But with me, they wouldn't let me leave. They wouldn't let me go anywhere. And then finally, after they approved my job, they put a GPS tracking monitor on me. It was only on for about a week.
Okay, but they didn't want the crack ass honkaloid going out and going to work and doing all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So you got to go home, and you're in Florida.
Yes, the free state of Florida.
what are you on to now? Like, have you put your life back together? Are you trying to find employment, or what are you? Are you going to be a politician? You're giving speeches for what's going on?
All of the above. Well, the funny part about that is I actually I when I came out, I was one of the fortunate ones where I had some work aligned with my fiance's brother, and I was going to start working for him, albeit, I wouldn't be doing what I love doing. It would have paid the bills and all that. But then I got approached by a woman running for Congress down here and District 23, and she came up.
We lost Barry for a second. That was the story's getting good too. Golly, Barry's got to get his internet fixed. So, yeah, he needs to hardwire in. Yeah, so Trump gave his 100-day speech on TV a while ago, and he was talking about how it was horrible what the J6 hostages had to go through. And I keep thinking about all this due process stuff that they're worried about this guy. They're not, it's kind of blown over now, but the guy from Maryland, who's the father from Maryland, was an illegal immigrant. But they're worried about his due process rights. He illegally came into the country, has established a life here, and they are worried about him being deported to El Salvador. But where were they whenever we were sitting in the DC jail, denied haircuts for 2 years, or for 1 year, excuse me, and fingernail clippers for a year? And when we were denied visits with our families for 2 years, and when we were denied religious services for 2 years. And like I say, I've been in jail, in and out of jail a lot in my life. And I've never been anywhere that denied you, access to a chaplain or Bible studies, much less a haircut or access to fingernail clippers, which is basic hygiene type stuff. And then to be as far away as we were from our families, I was 1,000 miles away from my family, and they denied us visits with our families for 2 years. So I guess I don't know what's going on, Barry. You got a hard wire into that internet. So
yeah, apparently I need to get a signal booster. As I said when I recorded my first show, I am not a professional. You and I we're the equivalent to Trump as far as news media and opinion op-eds are concerned, because we're the outside guys.
Yeah, sharp as a marble.
We're coming to fuck shit up, man. Even our own shows. So get out of the way, guys. Fucking wrecking ball.
Hold my beer. So you were saying you spoke to a lady who was a congressperson in Florida.
Yeah, she I don't want to give any details or name drop or throw anybody under the bus, but she took me out of my job and really wanted me to work for her campaign. I gave her all my resources and media, raised some money for a campaign. I was told that I was doing really, really good. And then a new campaign manager came on board and apparently did not like the whole J6 thing. And I told her from the beginning that this, are you, right. You ready to embrace this? And, she kind of took me on a roll, and, she did pay me, but it did kind of throw a wrench into my life plans, and I'm not real happy about it. But, this such as politics. And, I got to feel for a month to work on a real political campaign only to be fired because of who I am. So I think this is going to happen a lot in life. I might as well just get used to it.
Yeah, no, but I think it's some experience that you got to experience and some things you got to learn. And, they've been having me on some radio shows, and they're talking about the city of Chicago has this policy in place that any January 6ers are not allowed to go to work for the city of Chicago because even though we've been pardoned, but
I think we should go try to get jobs in Chicago.
I think we should all line up and go to the city office. It would be funny. But I was like, what January 6th person lives in Chicago, and who in the hell wants to go to Chicago? I don't want to I don't want to get shot. You know what I mean?
What do you mean, Shane? It's Southside Chicago's MAGA country. Remember Jussie Smollett? I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Taking over Southside.
Those sound like some people I could get along with over there, dude. I forgot about that.
But believe it or not, there's a lot of the urban communities in Chicago that are fed up with it, that do see the Democrat trap on the black community, that are speaking out. It's pretty profound to see. You seen recently the Chicago street gangs start to stand up against the Venezuelan takeover of Tren de Aragua, and nobody would listen to them, nobody would help them. And so, I mean, gangbangers do what gangbangers do. It's their hood, it's their neighborhood, and
Right.
they finally rose up and started to take it back. So for me, that's pure Americana. I was really happy to see that, because at the end of the day, no, I don't, condone gangbangers and all that, but the ones that were in Southside Chicago, those are American citizens, and I put America first, even our gangs.
Yeah, there you go. I did see, I guess it was some of the, maybe it was the city council, but I guess the mayor of Chicago was there, and there were some black people in red and white MAGA hats there, and they were like grilling him and like, why are you taking, giving these people precedence over citizens, and that's a good question. Like, you should be asking that. But I just worry about the compromised election systems. Like, is there a way for them to win? Plus, they have the machine has all the money behind them. So they replaced Lori Lightfoot with this dude who's worse than she is, probably.
How can you do that? How can there actually be worse than Lori Lightfoot? And you really have to try hard. I mean, I never thought in a million years you could beat Lori Lightfoot as the worst mayor, of a city. But then again, Jimmy Carter, he died a happy man after Biden's administration. You can't say he was the worst anymore. So congratulations, Lightfoot. Proud of you. Proud of you, girl.
I heard she's a legit gang banger, though. I've heard she's a legit gang member up there. And so she ran the city like a gang.
I could see that. I mean, cultural issues there in Chicago on that front. But I would say that I truly believe that she was the original Beetlejuice, that Michael Keaton was a front, because there's no way that you could naturally look like that character without makeup, to where, at least the movie was based off of her. I'm convinced on that. I've been terrified to say the word Lori Lightfoot 3 times. I can tell you that.
Turn out the light in the bathroom, spin around.
I mean, can you imagine what her feet look like? And I'll just leave that there.
They need some lotion. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just gonna drop that and walk away. So
yeah. So what do you got your feet wet in the political arena? They kind of shut the door on you. I'm sorry to hear that, but
yeah.
So now
it sucked. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it was right when my fiance got really sick and she was in the hospital, and I'm driving back and forth from being in the hospital with her, working for this woman, making all the sacrifices I can make while still taking care of my sick fiance. Hospital bills are piling up, and then she fires me. So, after telling me I'm part of the family and she loves me and I'm going to DC with her, and she's so worried about my fiance, and then ghosted me. So
sucks.
I wonder
so by the way,
I wonder what she's going to be like a politician when she's a politician.
So she's got those connection issues. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to do whatever. Then
yeah, well, integrity's a motherfucker,
Either so how is the fiance? You brought her up. So how is she? I didn't know. I didn't want to bring all that up, but how is she doing? Is she doing better or?
Better, yes. She's getting stabilized. What was going on is there was a blood pressure issue. She's always struggled with high blood pressure, and this time it was very dangerous. It started compromising her vision, which it's still kind of doing. She's on a couple different medications and working with some rheumatologists and stuff like that. The good news is it's not a brain tumor. So pray to God. That's my best friend. That woman is my right-hand woman. So praying every day for her.
Oh, that's good. We'll send a prayer up for her too, man. That's good. I'm glad that it's not as serious. Hopefully it's something that she can work through and you guys can heal through that. So you're out of politics, or you're starting your own campaign, or what are you doing now?
I will never be out of politics as far as what motivates me to get up every day and talk about. Now, what my role looks like, that I don't know. That's God's plan. We'll find out. But I'm going to stay involved in what's going on in my country until the day that I die.
That's right. This is our opportunity to serve, dude. I didn't pick this fight, dude. This fight picked me. I feel like you feel like that sometimes too. Like
I do. Looking back on it, I really feel that I was called to January 6th, and the reason still hasn't even been exposed to me yet, or any of us for that matter. Yeah. So, yeah, I think there's something bigger at work.
I do. I definitely feel the same. I'd never been to a political rally, never been to a Trump rally, never been to DC. Like, you might as, if you're going to go, if you're going big, like we're going all the way.
You knocked it out the park, bro. I mean, you didn't even, no training wheels at all. You just screw robbing a convenience store. You just robbed the Smithsonian Museum for the first time.
That's how I live,
Wow.
That's how I live my life. It's a whole series of those type of things.
You know what I was thinking about the other day that it reminded me of you because we experienced this together was that preacher that used to come to the DC jail. The gentleman, what was his name? He was a good guy. I liked him.
Reverend, was it Reverend?
God,
he was tall, black guy, one-eyed. I think he'd done a bunch of time in federal prison. God, what was his name?
Oh man, I loved him. What was his little signature thing where he would say? He'd do that little scream. You know how to do it. How's that scream?
Oh man, what did he do? Everybody would get mad that wasn't in the Bible study. Would be like, "Tell that guy he needs to shut up. We're trying to sleep out here." McKellop especially would get mad about it. Like,
yeah, he was a good dude, man. He genuinely loved the Lord and loved us, man. He loved everybody. I think he was a true God, a true man of God.
I love it though. He brought some sauce with it. He was unabashed. He was like proud man, embraced the male position in the kingdom, you know, and he was not afraid of that. And he brought some stank on it. He brought the prison, like, because he had all that time in prison, that he came in there to minister to people in prison, and he wasn't, for lack of better words, he wasn't pussyfooting around. He was preaching the word. If it didn't come from the Bible, he didn't want to really hear about it, and he brought the sauce, and I like it. I can appreciate that. That's a thankless, ministry, because you don't.
Sure.
You're not getting paid for that. You're coming into prison to hang out with guys in prison, and it was a funny story though. He used to tell us, he goes, "Yeah, they told me that they couldn't get a volunteer to come in here for you guys." And I was like, "Why not?" And he said, "Because they were all scared of y'all." I'm like, what? We're the most harmless wing probably in this whole jail.
Yeah.
But because we had the stigma of the January 6th domestic terrorists, those Trump supporters and white supremacists over there, we can't go up in there.
Yeah, I don't know if you had this experience, but a lot of, especially the Hispanic gangs, were under the assumption that we tried to take over the White House. Like there's a Puerto Rican gang in FCI Miami called Nietas, and I got along with them. They were all good dudes. When they found out my fiance was Puerto Rican, when they saw her visitation, they were kind of shocked about that because they thought that we were all these white supremacist, people that took over the White House to implement a white agenda to, purify America. Like,
white, everything white.
Yeah. And so they started calling me White House. Hey, what's up, White House? Because they thought the Capitol building was the White House. So I just ran with it everywhere I went. Hey, White House, what's up, man?
Speaking of, do you know Doug Jensen? He was the guy wearing the.
I do. I never got the luxury of meeting him, but I know who he is.
He was in the jail with us. We saw some of his discovery, and he's at the Capitol though, and he like looks at the camera and he puts his hand on it was like one of the retention walls where the ground's higher up on one portion and they got a wall, and then it's a level down below. He's on the level below, and he puts his hand on the wall. It's like the Capitol building retention wall, and he's like touches it. He's like, "This is me storming the White House," and I was like,
"Yeah, I did hear about
you don't even know where you're at." Like, that's how much of an insurrection that was. He doesn't even know where the hell he is, and he's wearing a Q shirt, and I'm like, "Oh my god."
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it's funny because they're always like, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers organized this insurrection and this organized this. The Proud Boys, we can't even organize a food fight. Okay, we'll get that wrong. Like, all you have to do is throw food at each other. We'll screw that up 10 out of 10 times.
Well, what's crazy? I mean, and they use all that rhetoric, and I think it looked really bad. I've seen the footage of Enrique meeting with Stuart Rhodes in like the parking garage, and it looked like this. Oh man, this is some big covert secret meeting or something. But it's just like, bro, there was no guns. There was, you know what I mean? Like nobody took guns to the Capitol. Y'all, I don't even think the Proud Boys even went in the building, and they're like, they went to storm the Capitol and they had a megaphone. Like, okay, so what do you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There wasn't a plan. That's what people, it's ridiculous. The people who believe that there's like some, like, if you did, we're going to go storm the Capitol and there's some magical lever that you could grab in there and be like, we've seized control of the government, and this lever right here will not allow anybody else to take control of it as long as we have it.
Yeah. If you get to that level first and pull it, then the 3,500 plus armed with semi-automatic or fully automatic rifles, they lose the ability to shoot you. It's kind of like
Then they're on your side.
Yeah, like
then
yeah,
you control the
get
government.
the control and you start blinking and you're invincible. Like when you get a star in Mario Brothers for about 30 seconds, you can just go on a rampage. Everyone knows that. That's why we were there. But apparently Nancy Pelosi keeps it really well hidden. We couldn't find that lever. So.
Jesus, yeah. So I guess you have a show that's coming together. What's going on?
Do.
Looks like you got a nice studio there. I don't know.
It's it's getting there. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out this damn camera. I'm supposed to be able to make little things.
You got to clap. You got to be like clap on, clap off.
Make a sign, I think, and it can do it. It doesn't want to do it. I don't know. Oh well.
It's because you can't even spell AI, dude. That's what it is.
It's a. I thought it was A1. It's AI.
That's what it is.
Oh shit! I got a lot of corrections to make.
AI. That's what it is.
You did the Illuminati sign.
Oh!
Yeah. Wait, did you? I hope your producer did that and not your camera when you made that.
If it was my producer, it would have been rainbows probably. So
nice.
he's a gay Puerto Rican dude. Nods.
Well, at least you're practicing DEI on your show, and I commend you, sir.
Yeah,
But yes, I do have a new show. It is called The American Rising, and I will be talking about mainly communism and Marxism here in America, showing up in our politicians' language and the things they vote on and the bills they're trying to push, things that happen on a daily basis where you can point and say, hey, look, this is communistic. I really want to focus on the weaponization of the Department of Justice and interviewing people that are on the same mission that we are now in life at exposing that corruption in the Department of Justice. My first guest today that I filmed today was a guy named Hal Waltz. He wrote this book, Justice Denied. I highly recommend people get a copy of that book. This guy is incredible. I call him the first J6er. He was basically arrested by the FBI and told that they want him to cooperate with a case against the Republican committee chairman in North Carolina. They created this false story, put him in jail because he refused to cooperate, arrested his wife, who wasn't even anywhere around him at the time, to use his leverage against her. They put him through diesel therapy. They had his lawyers working with prosecutors. It was everything that we've experienced at J6ers. This guy wrote the book on several years prior. So it was an exciting first guest simply because I got in touch with him while I was on my prison bed and reading his book. And now I've become friends with the guy. And he's an amazing human being that really cares about reorganizing the justice system in America. That's his life's work, and phenomenal person. So
okay, I like that. I can see my copy of the book there. I have not read it because it is so hard for me to sit down and read something out here. But I do have the.
It's in that defense of ADD and reading like I have. It's one of those James Patterson style books where it's really quick, short chapters, so you feel like you're accomplishing something, and like I'll just read the next chapter, but it was one page. Like, I'll do the next chapter. You do that 41 times, and you're done with the book. Okay. So it's really and it's very entertaining. So
maybe we could do like an audio book because we both have like good radio voices. And be like, chapter 1. And then you could just read it to people.
AI. There's going to be none of that anymore with AI. Or A1. Sorry,
A1.
Now I want steak.
So he was a good guest, though. I mean, he was.
Phenomenal.
Busted down the story. I've noticed some people, like it's you and I, easy to talk to, like just good conversation. Some people, it's a little more difficult. It's like pulling teeth, or there's a lot of information to digest, and you're like, where do I go next with this information? Again. No professional podcaster, I know how to shoot the breeze, but
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Don Lemon, Chris Cuomo, all these people have made
Rachel Madcow.
That freaking thing. I mean, what the hell is a Joy Reid? Oh my God. I mean, she gets paid
joyless.
Reid. She's on the unemployment line now. But look at these people that have made careers out of spewing BS, hate, lies, race baiting, propaganda, anti-American, communist, Marxist rhetoric. That I think America's tired of it. We know they are. A, November 5th happened, and B, their ratings are just plummeting. I mean, and Americans are sick of it. And I think alternative news and media and talk programming like this and podcasts are going to be the new future until A1 takes over and none, all of us are irrelevant. But
good point, though. Yeah, no, good point. Because that is the beauty of the last 4 years, I think, and watching the 4 years before that of Trump getting persecuted is it's created these concerned citizen, whatever, whether it's podcaster, journalists, and investigators, poll watchers, like people are actively involved in, election integrity and things like that. Like the people are paying attention. And had we have not gone through the last 4 years, whether it was the open borders or the fentanyl or the crime or whatever it was, like we wouldn't have all these people that are actively engaged and paying attention. And I think that's how we save, because I always say this, like, Benjamin Franklin, what do you say? You have a republic if you can keep it. And I think that if you can keep it is like an action. Like you have to, you don't just get to sit on your phone all day and be like, oh, we got the republic. Yeah, no, like you have to actively be involved. You have to actively vote, speak to the people that you're electing. Like you have to be involved and you have to speak out. Like uniquely enough and interestingly enough, January 6th has given us a platform and a megaphone to be able to share what's going on in the world where people may not, be paying attention. We can be like, hey, X, Y, and Z is happening. We need to be calling our congressmen. We need to be writing letters to our senators, whatever we need to do in that moment, in that situation. This gets to be our job now. How freaking awesome is that? 100 days ago, halfway house in prison. Now we're out here in the mix.
Yeah. Well, it's God works in mysterious ways, just like you said. I mean, if they didn't usurp the election from him and Trump, I don't think we would be in the spot that we're at and ready for such dramatic and drastic and well-needed change in our government. I don't think that Trump would have spent 4 years learning and watching how the swamp works to be able to come back and swing like he's swinging now. The whole assassination attempt. I mean, we're talking about a centimeter, 1 centimeter, and our country and our lives would look a lot differently. So there's no doubt in my mind that God's hand is not intervening in our affairs, which brings me to my final point in that moment on that topic is that God is not going to save us. He's not. He's going to give us opportunities for us to save ourselves, opportunities to grow closer to him, closer to his mission. And we have to seize those opportunities. He's going to open doors for us like he's doing with saving Trump's life and people be waking up and going to, seeing what the media and the corruption the media is really doing. But we got to continue this fight. If we get complacent and start celebrating and do not get to work for the midterms and the primaries, man, Hakeem Jeffries will be the new Speaker of the House and Trump's agenda will be finished.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's what God created men to be. He created men of action, David and Moses, and like you think about all the men in the Bible, like men of action that took action, that stood, that fought Goliath, fought the giant, whatever. He didn't want men to just stand on the sidelines and just be passive and let their old lady do whatever, let her lead the family or do whatever. He wanted men of action to take the lead and to get involved and not just stand on the sidelines.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I'll tell you, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm on me and my woman, we make a great partnership. She teaches me things. She can be a leader, but I'm a leader as well. And she allows me to do that and gives me that space. And we respect each other's roles. And we have communication is huge in our relationship. And she is my partner. She is my best friend. At the same time, men don't protect women because they're weak or they're helpless. No, that's not true at all. We protect women because they're fucking retarded. And, that's just, the way it is. So, we're here for each other. There's so many things every day and every week that if I left to my own demise and my fiance did intervene and say, hey, look, you're doing something wrong here. I'll fuck up, and she saves me. So there's no, it's not, but let's face it. We don't protect women because they're weak.
Right. No, that's right.
Because they do dumb shit all the time. I mean, love them.
And that's why your AI camera is not working right now.
Yeah. Freaking feminist camera.
He's in the background. Like No, I feel like, I definitely, I can relate to some of that. I'm not going to co-sign all of that, but I don't think the woman's role is diminishing. I do think they are
No.
equally important roles. You know, raising babies and educating the children, and like there's not that is the future. You know what I mean? We may be the lead right now in the household as far as physical, not so much providing anymore because we don't have to hunt our food anymore or anything like that, but raising up the future generations is a priority. But they also need the father there at home. That's where I think we have this deficit in society today, is we have a lack of, you know, we have a bunch of women raising young men, and that's not to say that they can't do it, and not to say that good young men don't come from homes without fathers. But if you look at, you don't have to look any further than the local county jail or the local prison to say that I believe 75% of all men in prison come from a single parent home. And that's just, that's just what it is. And so you're more likely to end up in prison if you do not have a father in the home. Not to say that you won't if you do have a dad, but you're more likely, like, and it's just statistically, you know, we need both parents, and that's equally important, whether it's the mom or the dad. And I just think there's a lack of male leadership in society. And I think that our church is responsible for a lot of this passivity that we see in men today. And whether it's the I don't know, whether it's the feminism, the emasculating of men, making weak men, you know, and it makes for hard times. But I think there needs to be a different way of teaching men how to be men. It's just not something that I don't think the church represents well. So,
sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the first things that the communists started doing underneath Lenin and continued further in after Stalin was the infiltration of the Catholic Church and Western religions predominantly, because what the Marxists and the communists realized really quick when they tried to create these color revolutions and these revolutions to get the working class to rise up against the upper class or the top, the employers, they found in America that the two things holding them back from being able to do this was A, religion, and B, strong family values. And that's why you see in today's Marxist society or attempt to Marxist coup of our culture, that's where they go at. They go at the religion, they go at the family. And the Catholic Church has been infiltrated by communists for a long time. I mean, one thing you're not going to hear me say is, oh man, that sucks, the Pope died. That guy. That guy was that, you know, you're supposed to be, you know, leading the Catholic, which, you know, that's a whole nother subject in itself.
right.
The integrity and the honesty of the moral fabric of that church has been under scrutiny for a long time. But, you know, you're out at trans events and pride events and all that stuff. And
co-signing abortion. And,
you know, so, I mean, I think it's almost symbolic that you died on Easter or the day after, you know, maybe that's something to be said about.
He didn't rise after 3 days.
Yeah, no.
Have you seen the video where he's got like, he crosses his fingers and his hands, and then there's another hand. It looks like he's got an extra hand. Have you seen that?
No,
I'm sure it's some kind of, you know, fudged video, but I've seen that earlier. I keep seeing it everywhere. I was like, that's weird, because he puts his hand over here and these hands are locked, but there's another hand over here. And I'm like, whose hand is that? Like, what is going on over there? He's got 3 arms. I don't know. Yeah, we got some work to do.
Yep. Well, you know, I really hope that we don't get complacent and we get we glory in the celebration of November 5th, because again, they're already filing articles of impeachment. If the Democrats are allowed to take over the House, which they can do, we're in big trouble. They're gonna continue their temper tantrums. They're going to continue what they do, which we watch them do for so long, and the crap they can do to stop Donald Trump and his America First agenda. So, ladies and gentlemen, we better get out there in those primaries, go rhino hunting in the primaries, and slay the Dems in the midterms, or we're done.
Yeah. So, when I think of the impeachment, I just think like the American people, like, I know I was exhausted by it, you know. It almost seemed like to me, and I didn't want to give up on Donald Trump, but it would have been almost like, let's say DeSantis was on deck and he was ready to go. Like, it would almost just be easier. Like, let's just get DeSantis in there and, like let Trump go on down the road because these people are going to like resist him. And I think I don't want that to happen because I feel like there's very specific intentional reasons that they resist Donald Trump because he is uncovering the things that truly need to be uncovered, whether it's with Doge or whatever he's doing, getting DEI out of things, two genders, whatever it is, closing down the border, whatever. And I feel like these other people may be compromised and definitely wouldn't be able to do what he's doing. However, it is exhausting going through these impeachments and with the mainstream media working in lockstep with the rhinos and the Democrat Party. It is just difficult to fight that. Luckily we have X now, or Twitter, that's really where I get my news now. I will turn on Real America's Voice, which I have on right now up here, and get some news, some Bannon or whatever, but it's exhausting. So how do you think Donald Trump's first 100 days are going? And then I want you to kind of give us what you think about. I want your take on Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi.
Okay. Trump's first 100 days can be summed up by the amount of TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook reel videos you see of purple-haired lip-ring for pride tattoos, sons of bitches crying and screaming into the microphone on their phone that they're very, very upset about these first 100 days. So I say they're going great because there's a lot of those videos out there. That's what I'll judge that on. Now, as far as Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and Pam Bondi, I understand that there's a lot of frustration of why aren't we seeing more? Why aren't we seeing more arrests? Look, as this show is called, Chess Not Checkers. That's what Donald Trump is playing. That's right. This is deeper than we even know. There's fallout people, there's crash dummies involved. They're methodically planning and they're waiting to implement what they're going to do as far as the confronting these bureaucrats prosecutorially and legally. And if they do that before the midterms, do you notice how before we knew it, when it's looking like Trump is going to win, you had all of these people on the fake news media and all these libtards across the country saying that Trump is going to start arresting people and mass arresting people and kill democracy, even though we're a republic. And he's going to start, and all these, even Rachel Maddow's like, I'm going to be carried out here in cuffs and blah, blah, blah. So they set this precedence that if Trump starts implementing his plan too fast and arresting people that need to get arrested, they're going to be able to use that in the midterms, and they're going to say, see, we told you Hitler's taking over America and you got to get out to the midterms and vote. And that could potentially activate a lot of apolitical on the fence people that otherwise would vote for Trump when they're just not seeing this panic from these imbeciles that they claim to be. So I think that he's going to be implementing a lot of this stuff after the midterms, because if he doesn't win the midterms, he's not going to implement anything. So I think there's something there, and people need to just be patient. It took 55 years to destroy this nation. No man is going to put it back together in 100 days. So stop. Be realistic, everyone. Give the guy a chance. Every promise he made, he kept, or at least went down trying as hard as he could. So I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to see some action. Just ask those two judges.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm with you. And I do see a lot of, especially a lot of the January 6th community. Like, you just see a lot of people like, oh, why haven't you arrested anybody? And there was this many people in jail for January 6th. And I agree, there was a lot of us in jail. I was in jail by this point.
Well, I got arrested because it was corrupt.
That's right.
And they're not doing it that way. They're doing it the right way.
Right. Yeah. And again, like you said, the 55 years to destroy this nation, and I do believe I'm patient. I give them grace. I believe Kash Patel has never showed me not to be a man of his word, and I believe in Dan Bongino. If anybody's heart's in the right place, I believe it's Dan Bongino. Pam Bondi, I don't know that much about, but she works for them. So I trust Kash Patel. He's the one that uncovered the Russia collusion hoax, and he's done a lot. So I have faith in him. And I am giving grace. I don't get too impatient, but I would like to see some action. I wish, honestly, they would just come out and say, hey, and Dan Bongino kind of has said it, just because you don't see it happening doesn't mean it's not happening. Right.
It's best that they keep this, close knit.
Yeah.
They don't. You don't want to give the fake news media the ammunition that they're. You want them to do what they're going to do, which is make it up. They're going to make up stories. They're going to make up lies, and the American people are paying attention like they never have before. So don't give them the ammunition that they need. Win those midterms, because again, people don't understand that those are more important than general election, especially at this point that we're at now.
Right. So we can carry on the rest of the agenda. So you mentioned the blue-haired, purple-haired libtards. So if I can get my producer to play that video that you...
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Roll number 1 if you can, sir. He's still trying to figure out. I don't know if they make Puerto Rican keys on the keyboard. So.
Oh, my favorite song.
We got no volume, sir.
So fucking ugly, don't turn on a light. We date simp-men and have big foreheads. I go fucking crazy when I miss my meds. I'm a fucking liberal, and I ain't real cute. With a face like a shovel, and in hair like a root. My ass is flat, and my mouth is vile. Ain't dealt with reality in a fucking while.
So true.
I think of the woman that lived down south, jealous of the facts that come out of their mouth. I hold a sign and look like ass, dumber than a stone, and the men pick me dead fucking last. I'm a fucking liberal, and I ain't real cute, with a face like a shovel, and in hair like a root. My ass is flat, and my mouth is vile. Ain't dealt with reality in a fucking while.
That's good, man. I like that. Did you?
I love that song.
It's on your favorite on your playlist, or?
Oh yeah, and I found it on Facebook Reels the other day. I probably listened to it about 45 times. Me and my fiance both know every word to it. She hates it. I've played it so much I can't stop playing it. I love it.
I think those are some of the women that, if they found out their husband voted for Trump, they're like, just never have sex with him again, or what was do you remember that whole deal?
Well, and I'm fucking blown. You just blew my mind, because the fact that any of those things have husbands is just that's the real story. Who were those guys to begin with that made the decision that, you know what, I'm gonna marry that. I'm gonna be with that for the rest of my life. What were you thinking?
Poor bastards.
God.
Thank God for divorce.
Yeah. Good Lord. So I mean, yeah, that is definitely, I think, a demographic of voters that Democrats did not take into account when it comes to people voting for Trump. Was that, yeah, there was a lot of these beta males that low testosterone, feminized men that voted for Kamala, but fortunately, their wives' boyfriends voted for Donald Trump. So it was in full swing. We took the cake, and let's go, MAGA.
Golly. Are you going to try to convert some of those? Well, I mean, I guess we can't really talk about that on the air, but I didn't know if you.
What, to my MAGA cult? No. I'm gonna. That was supposed to be a secret,
Yeah.
Yeah, no libtards in my MAGA cult. That's just
You're
for
gonna
me.
have like the liberal bang bus or something. I didn't know.
Well, I mean, it was funny because I think I was just talking to Enrique Tarrio today, and he said that they were thinking about buying a bus. And the first thing that I thought about, we're in Miami, so that's the home of the bang bus. And I'm like, it's come on, guys, let's be a little bit more. Let's be more Christ-like in our. But apparently, they just want to make a big, bus to travel around in.
Okay. Then y'all can come down to the studio when we get it built out. This is like temporary behind me, but
yeah, and I am okay with that. I want to come travel and visit, but remember, I do live in South Florida, right near the beach. So
that sounds nice. They got some pretty. Is that on the Gulf side or the ocean?
Well,
side?
I'm on the western northern Cuba, western Haiti side. So I'm on the East Coast, but. The west coast of Florida is really nice too. I love getting me and my girl go out there quite a lot just for some R&R and turn off the phones and catch some fish. But both beautiful.
You do some fishing down there? What are you catching down there?
Well, I made the mistake of teaching my woman how to shoot and fish. And currently she does them both better than me. So the last several times we've gone out fishing, I managed to lose 5 expensive lures, and she pretty much names a fish and catches whatever she wants to catch because she's like that. It's aggravating.
You're out of practice, so you've been in prison.
To be truthful, this was going on way before I went to prison. So, that bitch catches anything she wants. Sucks.
Okay. She caught you, dude, so that's good.
Oh yeah. Well, that was God's plan right there, man. That's that I've never known loyalty or had a friend like that, man. That's for sure. That's another thing I'm really thankful about January 6th is because we found out who loves us and who doesn't. Man, and the friends that I had, that the few that stuck by my side. And to his credit, I got to be honest, man. I have a good friend, Heido Gonzalez. He's a Dominican cat, really good dude. We've been friends for almost 30 years, I think. And unfortunately, my friend is he's too far gone, and I'm sure he would say the same thing about me, respectfully. But he's a far left lib. I mean, a far left lib. And I'll tell you right now, man, our 25 plus years of friendship was stronger than that. He was stuck by my side. He helped me out when I needed it. We don't talk about politics. We usually sometimes we break our rule, but nonetheless, my libtard friend stuck by me, and I had some conservatives that threw me under the bus and never looked back. So today maybe there's hope in our society.
No, that is good, man. It's like a pruning, that you got to take some of those branches off, and a lot of guys don't know that, but being in prison, like I have, people fall away, people that, and a lot of it, it's like the old lady or the girlfriend or the wife or whatever, like, I'm going to ride it out with you the whole time. And then next thing you know, you get a letter and they're like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Or you're worse, you find out from somebody from your neighborhood or whatever. Yeah, she's hanging out with old Billy Joe Bob. I seen her at the bar before I came to jail or whatever. And then, so then, it is good. It is good to remain with those friends that were forged in the fire. That's like I opened up. I said, we were, that's how I got to know you really well, was being in the shoe.
Yeah.
With the whole Taylor Toronto thing. That was pretty good times.
Yeah.
The old chestnut checkers deal.
That's I could find that Hannah and that Sancho that she found. You remember you taught me what a Sancho was? I didn't even freaking know. I knew the song. And I was like, babe, do you have a Sancho? She's like, what the fuck is a Sancho?
She's Puerto Rican and she didn't know what a Sancho.
She's Puerto Rican. She didn't have one. That's the real.
My roommate's Puerto Rican. He's like, that's Mexican. I'm like, is there a difference? He said they don't have tacos in Puerto Rico.
They have mofongo. That shit's good. So I had some prison mofongo.
What the hell is mofongo?
Bro, it's like they take the plantain chips and they crush them up and make a dough out of it. And
he's got plantains over here in our fruit bowl, dude. Yeah,
of course. Fucking.
I thought it was a banana.
Well, no, you gotta know the difference, buddy. You gotta know the difference. No, so yeah, they crush up these banana chips and they make this banana like thing and they mold it and they put meat and sausage in it and cook it all up and heat it up in the stinger and make these like great.
Sounds like a tamale.
Not really.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a plantain pate with meat in it. It's really good.
Okay.
It's really good. But to see, good. Like I have it, my girl's Puerto Rican. I Ola and Abla with her, and I know the things. I've had it. I've had this prison mofongo was just as good as some of the stuff you can get in the restaurants. Kind of incredible.
Well, hell yeah. I got to try that out. I'm sure y'all got some good restaurants down there, and
oh yeah. No, food is definitely not lacking. That's one thing I love about Miami is the culture and the food. I mean, I think we have Somalian and Ethiopian restaurants. I don't even think Somalia and Ethiopia have a restaurant. I mean, we've got them here in Miami. I'm pretty sure like people in Ethiopia and Somalia find that out. They're like, wait, we have our own food?
Is it a pirate themed restaurant? Like Sorry, this is a bad Somalian pirate joke. Sorry.
I mean, that's the only kind of jokes there are, I guess. Well, it's like I always say, dark humor's like food. Not everybody gets it.
That's right. That's right. So what night is your show? You have a particular night that your show's airing, and I'm assuming it's on the network we're on.
It is.
Give us the deets on there.
So it's going to be airing. The first episode will be airing on Thursday at 7 p.m. So chances are this show will probably come out after that. And, this would all be for nothing. So maybe this is like our Simpsons episode where it's, in the future we do a call out to our thing in the future. But yeah, that's 7 p.m. on Thursday. And I believe I'm going to take a Sunday spot as well for a second show. And, I really hope that, people follow us, you it included, what your work is doing, because we are the answer. If people get behind us now, we're going to be censored. We're going to be, we're not going to get the views, and YouTube's not going to let our stuff go viral. So we really have to depend on the people. If you're tired of the fake news media and the narrative, then you have to support people like us. Support the War Boys Network on Rumble. I'm on Rumble at Ramey is Right, Gettr at Ramey is Right, True Social at Ramey is Right, and I'm always right. So just follow me, and we'll go from there. But it really is important, ladies and gentlemen, that you get behind people if you're watching Shane's show. Follow him right now, because we're not guaranteed to be here forever and allowed to speak the way we are. We found that out the hard way once already.
That's right. No, I got one more thing that I saw. It was a thing about Jacob Chansley, I guess was his name. Okay. Can you bring that up, Maurice? It was saying that, I guess, Jacob Chansley, the QAnon shaman, who I'd never really there was some questionable stuff back there that I hadn't, I was locked up, but I had a feeling about some of it. And then I heard he turned on Trump. And then, so here's if you'll scroll back up to the top, it says QAnon shaman Jake Angeli willing to testify at Donald Trump's impeachment trial. So I guess they're
filing against him.
I believe he's willing to testify against him.
Are we sure about that? I was in Alexandria after he was there. He was there for several months in administrative segregation, where they held all J6ers. A lot of the COs said that, the first they were like, whatever, this guy's weird, but the more they got to talk to him, they said he was actually a very intelligent person.
Yeah, from what I was told, they said it was I have to read it, but they said he says feels strongly that he needs to do everything he can to help the government, which is we know the government's aligned against Trump. So yeah, I heard that
let's look into that. Let's confirm that, though, because maybe there's something more to that. I don't know. I don't know. That's a little weird. I would be shocked to see that.
Well, I had heard he had disparaged Trump while he was still in. He felt he used the old, well, I felt betrayed, or I felt misled, or he says he has come to the conclusion and been made acutely aware of the fact that what has happened is, instead of being the patriot who's trying to help his president save his country, he was made the fool. I guess it's his attorney said that. So he feels like he was made a fool of.
No, wait. Now, was that a recent statement, or was that in his arguments at his trial or sentencing?
Yeah. How old is this article, Maurice? Can you tell? Let's see here. I'll scroll back. January 29th. Okay. Yeah. This is a 2021. So maybe this is fake news. Somebody sent me this. So maybe.
Yeah. Because, I've seen him speak on his couple podcasts. I can't really see that. I don't know if I want to have to see solidified proof. Now, as far as that statement from his attorney, let's be honest here. Yeah. We know what the government was doing to us. We know we didn't have a chance. I mean, there was people that were doing anything they could, and lawyers that were doing anything they could to try to help their clients, which
is their job. That's their job. Yeah.
So I'm not going to fault anybody if their lawyer said that on their behalf, trying to help their client, especially if that person comes out and says, hey, look, this is the situation. We can all understand, what that entails. Now, I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but toot. I made sure to say in my sentencing that Proud Boys and Donald Trump did not make me do anything. I did whatever I did on my own volition, and it's my fault. Now, that's just because I'm super fucking awesome, and I don't hold anybody to that standard.
No, that's right.
I've learned a long time ago not to do that. So, it would just be.
Well, same for me. At sentencing, I held my hand up and I said, I'm accountable for my actions. Nobody, not the president, not anybody else, is accountable for that. And, I went to the Capitol on my own. Nobody called me to the Capitol. Nobody did anything else like that. So I'm accountable for my own actions.
That's 100%. Nobody made me do shit. I was pissed off. I was angry. I got assaulted. I watched people get assaulted, and I clapped back. I'm not justifying my actions. If I could take that part back, I would, but I'd still show up there
Yeah.
at least and voice my
Also,
opinion.
they're stealing an election from the American people, and they're, you know, and I feel like the DC police use that as an opportunity to beat the crap out of Trump supporters, you know. And I feel like it was a manufactured event that was, it was destined to happen one way or another. And if you're a man and any kind of stand-up guy, and you're watching women and elderly men being beaten, you're not gonna stand by and watch it. It wouldn't have mattered who it was doing it. It wouldn't. I wouldn't care if it was the U.S. military doing it. I would have been upset about it and probably been fighting with them too. So,
100%. It's just it's why it's so important your show and what we're doing with our lives, because it's so easy to lose the fire once you get out. It's like when you lose something, you know, you lose your car keys and you're looking for them everywhere for like an hour. You're losing your freaking mind. You're so angry, but the minute you find them, it's like you don't even process where you left them, what happened. You're just so relieved that you found your keys that you go on about your day and don't even remember that for the last hour and a half you were looking for something that you were holding in your fucking hand the whole time. Man, so it's like, it's the same thing. We went to prison. We had a hard fight. We fought and we won the battle, but we still got to win the war. If we just celebrate this battle, man, you know, it's all for nothing. So that's why what you're doing is very important, man. I'm proud of you, brother.
Thank you, man. I'm proud of you too. I will never forget and I think the biggest thing that really bothered me was the men that we were locked up with, you know, Special Forces, Jeff McKillop, or Jessica Watkins, Robert Morris, 82nd Airborne Infantry, or James McGrew, Marine, Ryan Nichols, Marine, Dan Caldwell, Marine, Thomas Webster, Marine. And I'm sure I'm leaving some people out, but I watched Kenneth Harrelson, Army.
Great guy.
Billy Cressman, Army.
Guy.
All these people who lived honorable lives, never been in jail. If they had ever been in trouble, it was minor, whether it was like a misdemeanor or a DUI, whatever it was not. They hadn't lived a life of crime, right? Like
Robert Lego Man Morris.
Yeah, you know, and to see these people who offered up life and limb in defense of the homeland, or defense of our homeland on foreign soil and in the deserts of Afghanistan and Iraq, suffered from PTSD, getting blown up by IEDs, and, you know, and to go on about law enforcement, prison guards, and these people blue collar people who lived honorable lives, to watch the way that these people were treated and disrespected and shit on by the very government who trained these people to respond in these high intensity situations the way they reacted. I don't know any of those people who went to the Capitol with their hearts intent on violence. Every situation, any one of those people that had assault charges, they witnessed a situation, somebody being assaulted, somebody being attacked, somebody being pushed down the stairs, somebody being hit in the head, and then they responded in kind, because there's no reason for that to be going on. And so for them to be called, they said that they assaulted people under the guise of insurrection or overthrowing the sitting government, is absolutely ridiculous. And so it is horrible to watch those people to go through divorces, to go through having loved ones die off. John Millis's dad died. Dan Caldwell's mom died. Peter Schwartz went through a divorce in prison. I know about 5 or 6 guys going through divorces now since we came home. And then I watch people lose homes. I watch them lose businesses. I watch people's family members abandon them or turn against them. I watch them get on the stand and testify against them at their sentencing or at trial. And so for these people to have to endure what they endured, just gives me, and I got shit on, and that's okay. But it really bothers me more to watch these people who honorably served our country and have lived honorable lives, to watch them be disrespected and treated the way they were treated. And so that's why I feel called to stand in the gap for these people, stand in the breach for them, because we don't want this to happen. And I don't agree with what those purple-haired, green-haired liberal women have to say in their politics, but I'll stand up for them. I'll stand 100%. Up for them to have the right to say whatever they believe, whether it's pro-abortion, whether it's open borders, whatever they want to believe in. They should have the right to be able to say that, to be able to have a show that will not be canceled, that will be put out there just like everybody else's. And if the American public wants to consume it, then they can consume it. I believe passionately and strongly in free speech, and that includes people that I disagree with. And so That is the beauty of this country. It's for everybody. It's not just for the far. They're going to say these guys are only for the far right, the alt right, whatever. No, I'm for American. I'm for the American citizenry first. Like, I don't care what race, what creed, what politics, where do you go to church, how much you tithe, how much you're taxed. I don't care how much you make a year. I don't care. What I want is everybody to enjoy the same rights that everybody else has. And so that's why 100%. I feel led to do what I'm doing. And I'm glad that you're picking up the mantle and moving on. You are a very well-spoken young man. And I didn't know that you went to jail as a juvenile. I'm proud to call you my brother, man. And I can't wait to get down to Florida. I'm probably going to we're going to be out that way. I'm not going to say when on the air, but it's coming.
Yeah.
In the next couple months, I'm going to be out that way. So,
to touch on something you brought up very a second ago about the veterans, and in criminal cases, if somebody honorably served the nation, that is usually used to benefit them at their sentencing. Like, okay, yeah, you did something bad, but you did serve the nation, so we're going to give you some kind of credit for that when we're considering your sentencing. But what happened with our beloved veterans at J6ers is they actually used that against them. So because they were a veteran and they were a J6er and they were a Trump supporter, they gave them more time because of their military training. And it's just, it's really sad, like you said, Kenny Harrelson, Robert Morris, McKillop. I've never had the luxury of meeting McKillop, but he's one of the few that I have never met someone say a thing bad about that guy. They say he's hilarious. He's a stand-up individual. I heard him on excuse me, Real America's Voice on Cowboy Logic, and he's just a phenomenal storyteller. And the fact that his stories are 100% real is even more fun to listen to. And Jessica Watkins, I was actually talking to Enrique the other day. I'd like to interview Jessica Watkins because I was thinking about it the other day. I obviously I have my opinions about the transgender community, and I hate the whole palmy pronouns thing, but I was thinking about it like, okay, well, what about someone like Jessica Watkins, honorably served the country, went through hell with us, showed up to the January 6th. I'll call you whatever fucking pronouns you want. I mean, you're my people.
You earned it. Yeah.
I want to talk about that as someone who's a straight white cis fucking alt-right fucking bigot guy. What it's like, for her in that realm, being a conservative, being a MAGA supporter. How does she feel about pronouns? What offends her? What doesn't? How does she feel about that climate? I think that'd be an interesting conversation. Because,
do you feel welcomed in that community, or like?
I'd like to have a real conversation like that about her, because, like I said, normally I'd be like, oh, fuck you and your fucking pronouns, blah blah blah. But that right there, that's MAGA. That's that's whatever your pronouns are, dog. I got you.
Absolutely,
not fighting that one.
You earned it. I'll get you Jess's phone number after this. I'm sure she'd love that.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to talk to her, because you can't, if you want to argue with the fact that she served the country and went to war, then you're just an idiot. So, but liberals are idiots. So
I do feel like the LGBTQ plus IA, whatever it is, AI, A1, A1, community abandoned her. Through all that, there was no support.
No. I mean, it's it's the liberals. They will denounce their own morals in a heartbeat if you don't align with every single one of theirs. Like, it doesn't matter. If you could be a gay, black, transgender man, woman that loves women and men, and you're all of, you check off every freaking letter in the LGBT. If you like Trump, then you are a racist white bigot.
You're none of them. We're not using your pronouns.
Let's not forget, Enrique is the official blackface of white supremacy. So
he's the blackface white supremacist. That's
I feel honored. So we're doing such a good job that even the black folks are like, you know what, they got a point here.
My roommate looks like Enrique, which is funny. I always put him up like this.
I met a guy.
It's your stunt double.
I met a guy in FCI Miami, Gucci. He was pretty cool dude. He was a New York Puerto Rican gangster dude. Big time drug dealer. Really cool guy. Was always cool with me. Big Trump supporter. And he had a lot of tattoos, but from afar, if you were to put a Fred Perry on him in a hat, people would think that's Enrique Tarrio. So I was trying to tell him, like, hey, when you get out, get a hold of me, because I could use you as a stunt double,
Yeah, for real.
He's like, yo, what the fuck you mean, bro? I'm like, so if like my dude's got to go one way, you go the other way, and people follow you. He's like, I don't want them motherfuckers shooting me, bro. I'm like, well, that's the whole point of a stunt double. That's what I need you for. So, I mean, don't take the job, But he could have done it. It's for a really good cause. Save America. Get shot.
One bullet at a time.
Marines do it all the time, pussy.
Yeah. Well, man, so where can people, or what are you doing are you fundraising? Are you doing any kind of fundraising? And then we need your socials and where we can download your show or whatever.
My beautiful fiance started a website on my behalf that has all the articles that are truthful about me on ospreysensei.com. You can see my whole story played out from the beginning to the end there. And my social media, I'm still, for some reason, suspended off of X. I still don't know. When I got released, my account started blowing up. I mean, it was going viral. Julie Kelly even shared one of my posts, and it was, I woke up one morning, it was like 10,000 followers, and then it got suspended. And they won't respond to me and tell me why. So I don't know. But I'm on Facebook at Barry Ramey, the American Rising, Gettr, Truth Social, and Rumble. You can find me at Ramey is Right. Please get out there and follow me, because without you guys, I'm just pretty much talking to myself. And I did that for 3 years in my cell. I'm tired of doing it.
Look, get with me tomorrow too. We'll try to get your X back up. I'll start posting like, hey, Elon, always at Elon Wise.
Yeah, I get that, and I'm appreciative. If it works, I'll be shocked. I just find it hard to believe that Elon's sitting around solving all these problems and sending rockets to space. And he's like, yeah, well, I got time to stop all that to allow this douchebag back online. So let me just get into my super Elon X phone and unblock. You're good. There you go, dude. Elon to the rescue. I don't think it works like that. Although if it does, man, bring it on, man. Because
what is your X account? So maybe we can get people that watch this podcast, if you can at Elon to get, what is your X account?
At Ramey is Right. The same as all my other handles right now. That's
if you guys will post at Elon, please put or give Barry is Right at Barry is Right back his account. That would be awesome.
And don't say Ramsey. Everyone calls me Barry Ramsey. There's no fucking S in the name. How do you hallucinate a letter in a name to pronounce it? I don't.
Dave Ramsey. No, Barry Ramey.
Yeah. My dad's side, my family lineage goes all the way back to Jamestown, and writing the Declaration and the Constitution of Jamestown.
Okay,
they're on there, Ramey. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you. I appreciate you. My producer appreciates you coming on tonight, and kind of an impromptu show, man. But I'm honored to have you. I'm honored to call you my friend and brother, and I can't wait to see you in person. Give you a big old hug, man. Thanks for coming on,
brother. What we went through together, man. We formed brotherhoods for life. They never thought in a million years that they would do that. So there's that. And to your producer, my wife's Puerto Rican, and she hates Puerto Ricans. Can you explain that one to me? I don't know what that one's all about. She's a bigot. She's a Puerto Rican. She's a Puerto Rican bigot.
Self-loathing. Yeah, appreciate you, man.
God bless you, man.
Yeah, God bless you, brother. I just wanted to say to the audience out there, if you guys will go to standinthegap.foundation and check out what we're doing with the foundation. If you're trying to reach out to us, go to info@standinthegap.foundation. But we are raising money to help put January 6ers lives back on track. We have 3 programs for January 6 guys, or men and women right now. And one of them is we're working on credit repair. Another one, because we were all kidnapped by the federal government and many of our accounts went unpaid, whether it was car loans defaulting, homes defaulting, businesses defaulting, or your credit cards going unpaid, bank accounts getting closed, whatever it was. And so that's one thing we're doing. We're also working on providing health care that's medical and dental for the guys who are inside, or any Jan 6er probably that needs health care could apply and get it. But we're working on that to make sure that people are healthy and are going to live long lives and have good teeth so they can smile and be happy. We're also working on a thing called Mission Memory Maker. This program will fully fund, and we're starting with the people who did at least 1,000 days in, but we are accepting applications for this now. We're fully funding a 3 to 5 day vacation of a resort of our choice, but we're paying for airfare, Ubers, resorts, and I believe meals. I don't know. We'll have to get into the finer details of that, but there is an application, and then the details are on it on the website. But if you want to help our January 6th people, because we were given our freedom, but we haven't been compensated for anything, and so we are trying to put our lives back together, and it's difficult. Whether it's the emotional and mental trauma from being in prison or in solitary confinement or whatever it is, or just trying to get back out here and feeling the pressure. Like in some situations, the wives were at home raising the kids and had to sell the husband's vehicle to be able to make ends meet. And so we do also accept vehicle donations. We can get you a tax write-off if you decide to donate a vehicle to the foundation. We can get you a tax credit for that, or tax write-off. I'm not sure what the legal term for that is, but we'll get a paper for you, and it will make your taxes less. And so if you guys want to do that, again, that's standinthegap.foundation. If you'd like to follow me personally on Twitter, I am the real J6 Shane on Twitter or X. And if you go to Instagram, I am the real J6_US. That's on Instagram. We also have a Rumble channel, I believe is the real J6. And then I'm on Facebook, Shane Jenkins, if you want to follow me. But again, we appreciate you guys tuning in. And I know that these shows kind of run long, but we're honored to have you in our audience and enjoying our shows. And it is an honor and a privilege to share our insights with you of what's going on in the world and what we've been through and kind of some of the pending events. But again, we appreciate y'all tuning in. I can't wait to see y'all next time. Shane Jenkins. Remember, we're playing chess, not checkers.